Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I have University of Illinois Extension nutrition and wellness educator Lisa Peterson in studio. Welcome back, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. It's been a while.
It has. Well, it's Turkey Month.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about all the different things I'm going to eat for Thanksgiving coming up in just a little while. So
yeah,
I'm sure that's kind of what's on your mind right now.
Yes. Yep. And that's the kind of questions that are starting to stream in. So
Yeah.
Americans eat somewhere around 60 pounds of turkey per year.
Like individually?
Yeah. Each person
Okay.
eats about 60 pounds of turkey per year, which is crazy.
That's a lot of
16.
turkey.
Yes, it is. And this is the time of year where everybody is working right now on kind of starting the planning for Thanksgiving.
I'd imagine a good third of that turkey comes from this Thanksgiving meal too.
Yes, yep. And that's the big thing is some people are thinking, okay, do I want to do fresh? Do I want to do frozen? How do I want to go about it? So that's the kind of one of the things that we want to hit on in Extension. We have a fantastic website. It's one of our biggest websites that get hits every year. It's called go.illinois.edu/turkey. That's an easy way to find it. Or just Google Turkey, University of Illinois, and you'll find it. It's our Turkey for the Holidays website. And it is fantastic. We've had it for many, many years. It goes through the entire process of selection to different ways to cook it, to thawing. It goes through nutrition. It's got recipes on there. It's kind of our go-to for everything turkey when we get close to this holiday. So I kind of wanted to hit on a few of the things that you can find on this website.
Well, let's start with selection.
Yes.
Obviously, not every turkey comes at the same size.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I guess what's important to know about selecting your turkey?
Yeah. So when you're first looking at your turkey, the one thing you want to think about is how many people are you feeding?
There you go.
That's kind of the first place to start.
Mhm.
Generally, we're going to tell you about a pound per person. Or a pound and a half, depending on how many hearty eaters you have. And you're definitely going to have leftovers in doing so, but that's kind of a good place to start to gauge, well, how much turkey do I need to buy?
Right.
And that's also different because if you buy a pre-stuffed turkey, it's going to be at about a pound and a half. If you're going to buy one that is a bone-in breast, that's about a half a pound per person.
Okay.
So those are things to think about kind of starting out, being like, okay, how big of a bird do I need?
Right.
Yeah.
And then, well, I imagine the next thing you're thinking about preparing it.
Yep. Yep.
First thing you do, and we've talked about this before with poultry, you
Mhm.
wash your hands.
Yes.
Right?
I say, don't say wash the bird.
Right,
Yes,
the
you wash your
hands.
hands. Yep.
Right. And you said it, don't wash the bird.
Yes, please, for goodness sake, do not wash your bird. The
Why?
reason why is you're going to spread bacteria everywhere in that kitchen. And we'll get into thawing here in a second, but that's one thing is by washing that bird, all you're doing is spreading those germs everywhere. The germs you want to kill are on the inside, not the outside. And we always say with pathogens, you can't see them, you can't smell them, and you can't taste them. So you never know if those pathogens or bad bacteria are there by looking at it.
In an environment where you're cooking a lot of other dishes, that could be
Yep. You don't want the turkey juice in your cranberry sauce.
No.
That doesn't sound so fun.
recipe for disaster. What do I need to know about thawing my turkey?
Yeah, so there's 3 different main ways we tell you to thaw turkey. One of them is probably the most common. That's your refrigerator, especially when you buy frozen turkey. You might buy it today and then put it in your freezer. When you buy a frozen turkey, things to think about in the refrigerator is you want to give it 24 hours of defrosting time for every 5 pounds. So I'll say that one more time, 24 hours of defrosting for every 5 pounds. So a 20-pound turkey could take 4 or 5 days to thaw. So that's not something where you're like, okay, I'll put it in the night before, let it thaw out. It's not going to be thawed in 24 hours. So also you always thaw in a refrigerator, in a cold water, or a microwave. Microwave's a little less conventional, and those are better for smaller birds, but follow manufacturer's instructions for that. But yeah, that refrigerator is probably the most common. Make sure you have a pan underneath it and it's on the bottom shelf so nothing's going to drip. It's a big food safety concern there. But keep in mind, if you thaw on a counter, it's that same thing. Those harmful bacteria that are going to form at room temperature, you can't see, can't smell, and can't taste. And the other thing is they can often form toxins in there, and toxins you can't cook out. So that's why we tell you it is so unsafe to thaw at room temperature, is you can't see any of those bad bacteria. And you're thinking, well, I'll just cook it out. After a toxin is there, it is very difficult to get rid of. So you're more going to have to throw the entire thing out, which we don't want you to do around the holidays.
What are some good methods, good and safe methods to cook a turkey?
Yeah, so probably the traditional way is our roasted turkey unstuffed. I'll talk a little bit stuffing here in a second, but oven roasted bag, aluminum foil wrapped. That one's a pretty common one. They'll wrap it up in there, put it in the oven. Mention microwave. The other way, the ones we say that are downright unsafe. If you visit our website, there's a nice list. Paper bag method, trash bag method, slow cooking overnight method, and turducken. We all consider unsafe.
I could probably imagine why brown paper bag and trash bag method could be wrong, but I kind of start to question what's wrong with slow cooking overnight.
Yeah, the slow cooking overnight is the temperature issue because you need it when you slow cook. Again, we're worried about it needs to get to 165. That's the temperature we need it at. By sitting at a slow temperature for too long, again, you're putting yourself at risk.
You're not actually getting it into that 165.
Yes, yep, to that range that it needs to be. And kind of going back to when we talk about thawing in cold water, I teach certified food managers, and I'm making sure I'm not giving them the wrong information because in food service, it's very different than in home. But if you're going to thaw in cold water, which we've done in our family many times, make sure that bird is submerged in a wrapper in a deep sink, and you are changing that water every 30 minutes. So that's that's an easy way to thaw too. Make sure you have a clean sink when you're doing that. You don't take it out of the package, keep it in there, and you allow about 30 minutes per pound of turkey. But that one's a pretty common way. Make sure it is submerged in that water. Do not use hot or warm water when you do it. Make sure it's cold, but you're changing that water every 30 minutes. And again, it's an easy way. It's something where we set a timer. We do other things around the house. Timer goes out, change the water, and then we go another 30 minutes. So that's another really easy way to thaw if you don't want to do the refrigerator method.
What is a turducken?
A turducken, it's a mix of turkey and duck.
Okay. And why is that on the list of downright unsafe methods?
You'll have to go visit the website to give you more details on that one. So because it's a lot to get into. So definitely visit our website and it'll tell you the reasons why.
I think I've heard of that before, but I never really. Anyway, I guess I'll have to go look at the website.
You'll check it out. Check out the website.
Definitely. But I guess I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite cooking technique?
Probably the oven. I mean, that's the easiest way. The traditional oven roasting. We baste our turkey, keeping it nice and moist in there. Another big myth I really try to break around this time of year is those little pop-ups that come with it. With those turkeys that tell you when they're done. The problem is they're not always correct. So the little pop-ups in there, they're great. It's an easy way for people to know, but we really need you to use a thermometer because sometimes what happens, the biggest issue I've seen with them is they'll overcook the turkey. So they'll pop, but it'll be way past 165. So that's where you do want to put a thermometer in there. Even using an oven-safe thermometer is a great option, so it stays in the bird while it's cooking. But take it out, use it, check a couple different places around to make sure you're getting to the correct temperature.
Well, anything else that we should keep in mind while we're cooking these turkeys?
One other thing that I'm seeing more and more people doing is deep frying.
Okay.
So the big thing with our deep frying is make sure that bird is completely thawed before you try to put it into the hot oil. So that's a huge thing. I know our fire departments are always very much at this time of year. We have people deep frying. Another thing is you do not stuff that turkey if you're going to deep fry it. Usually if you're going to do a deep fried turkey, you want that turkey to be 12 pounds or less. So it's a little bit of a smaller bird when you do it. But be very careful when you do it. We say approximately 3 to 5 minutes per pound of turkey when you're deep frying. Because it's a little harder to take it out and check temperature every spin. So that gives you at least a general idea. And it's the same rules where you get to 165.
What do I need to remember if I plan to stuff my turkey?
If you're stuffing your turkey, ideally, I tell people not to because it is a safety risk. But stuffing a turkey, studies have shown that cooking stuffing inside the bird, there's no guarantee of really reaching that 165. So if you're going to do it, which if some people like to do it, is you pre-cook it. And then in that last about half hour of cooking the bird, then you lightly stuff it, but you already have that stuffing pre-cooked. You've already reached 165 in there. So that would be my suggestion when you do it, especially the food safety side of it, because again, if you stuff it to cook it, you're putting yourself at risk.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. We're going to continue to talk about preparing your turkey from the oven to selection to actually serving that turkey here on the WTIM Morning Show. It's University of Illinois Extension Nutrition and Wellness Educator Lisa Peterson. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn lower, beans slightly higher. Chicago wheat trading higher. December corn 674.5 down 1 1/4. March corn down 1 1/4, 680 1/4. May corn 680 1/4 down 1 3/4. November beans up 3 1/4, 1443 1/4. January beans up 2 3/4, 1453. March beans 1460.5 up 2.5. December Chicago wheat up 7.5, 853 1/4. March wheat up 6 3/4. 870 3/4. December bean meal up 370, 422.70. December bean oil down 21 cents, 76.12. In the livestock market, November feeders 178.15, down 7 cents. December live cattle down 27 cents, 152.77. December lean hogs 85.70, down $1.35. In the energy market, December crude oil 91.18, down 61 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Honest? Doris Turner has never been honest. FBI wiretaps prove it. News reports confirm it. Court documents leave no doubt. Doris lied then, and Doris is lying now. Payroll fraud scheme. Doris was in on it. Funneling money from cancer patients. Doris did it. Government workers cleaned her house. We all pay the price for Doris's corruption. You know Doris Turner is lying because her lips are moving.
Paid for by Sandy for Senate.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Proven banking solutions are a must for today's business owner. Hi, I'm Ashley Basso with People's Bank and Trust. If your company needs products like online bill pay, remote deposit and payroll direct deposit, or better checking and savings account options, then we need to talk. I can customize our business banking and lending plans to fit your company's needs. Call 888-PBT-1954 or visit bankpbt.com today. We want to be your business banking partner. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When the new models arrive in the showroom, the guys at Just Beds have to clean nose smudges off the windows. Please, just come on inside. All new Bemco Arctic Breeze, Max Life, and Chatham & Wells mattresses. This month, twin Bemco mattresses $149, queen mattresses just $229. Save up to $300 with the all-new Bemco Arctic Breeze, Max Life, and Chatham & Wells mattresses. As always, free delivery setup and removal. Visit the Yawn Exterminators on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds. Your information station. WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm here with nutrition and wellness educator Lisa Peterson from the University of Illinois Extension Office here in Taylorville, and we're talking about all the things going on with turkey. And, I don't know about you, Lisa, but after I am done eating, I feel really tired. I just want to take a nap, which is why we have Thanksgiving meals at like 2:00 in the afternoon anyway, right? So, I mean, but that comes from the turkey. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and that's one thing we talk about every year is there's a myth out there that eating all this turkey is going to make you super sleepy. And there's some basis for it because turkey contains an amino acid called tryptophan. And tryptophan is associated with serotonin production and melatonin production, so your sleep cycle, your mood. But you're not eating a high enough amount of all that protein to really have a huge effect on you afterwards. Really, that tiredness comes from, part of it's the carbohydrate load. So you're eating way more calories than you're used to. You're eating lots of breads, you're eating desserts, sugary drinks, things like that. And that's really where the sleepiness comes from. It's not really the turkey itself, because again, you're not eating 5-6 pounds of turkey usually on a holiday, where So that's always a fun one. But yes, it contains tryptophan. It's just not high enough to really have a huge effect. But yeah, it's great. It's a good mood booster.
Yeah, the
And
carbs.
it's a little bit of the what I call the placebo effect, where you
Right.
think I ate all this turkey and now I'm tired.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the carbs are really what make me tired.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, is there
Mhm.
anything here when you've taken the turkey out, you've tested the temperature for
Yep.
165 degrees? Anything that I need to remember when I'm carving it in terms of safety?
Yeah, just one of the big things is, again, make sure you have clean hands. It's always a good place to start.
Clean
But
hands.
using that sharp knife is another thing. And our website that go.illinois.edu/turkey does a fantastic job of explaining the carving process and
Mhm.
how to go about doing it. So if it is your first time, that's a great resource. Make sure your knife is sharp. That is something, most of our cooking accidents happen from human error. And that's one thing, is they're not using sharp knives, because dull knives, you're more likely to cut yourself because you're putting more pressure on it.
Mm.
So make sure your knife is very sharp when you're cutting it up. And then as you're cutting it too, it's a good idea as you're slicing it to keep slicing it and getting ready to store it. Because if you do have leftovers, it's a lot easier to put away. And you want to make sure when you're storing it, you're storing them in smaller pieces and containers that are no more than about 2 to 3 inches deep. The reason why is that cooling process.
Mm.
So if you put something in a big container, the problem is that center is not going to get cold enough fast enough, and you could potentially get sick and have no idea.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing we try to encourage. Put them in really shallow containers, again, 2 to 3 inches deep, all your leftovers. So that way no one's going to get sick from it cooling down.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of leftovers, what else do I need to remember? Maybe not in terms of just turkey, although yes, I want to know stuff about turkey too.
Yep.
What should I remember about storing and
Yeah.
eating those leftovers?
Yeah. So one thing with leftovers is storing it is how long can I store it? That's a big question. Throwing things in the freezer, they're going to last months. The only things in the fridge, it's going to be a matter of days.
Okay.
So a lot of it's because the bacteria is still able to grow in a refrigerator environment. And when you put it in a freezer, that bacteria goes dormant. So it's not had a chance to move. So a lot of people, when they call my office, they're like, I have this meat in the back of my freezer and I've had it there for 2 years. Is it still safe to eat? Technically, yes, because it's been sitting back there, assuming you didn't leave it at room temperature for 4 hours. Quality might be a little questionable.
Okay.
But yeah, so like stuffing, we tell you about 1 to 2 days. Giblet gravy, 1 to 2 days. Canned cranberry sauce and cranberry relish can go about a week, so about 7 days. And it is a good idea when you store it, put the day you're going to throw it out on there. So it's going to make life a little bit easier. So you're like, oh gosh, you're like, it's now the middle of December and you're ready to throw it out. So when you look at the date and you're like, oh, I guess I should have gotten rid of that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere people can go to have their questions answered quickly? Obviously go.illinois.edu,
Yep.
but maybe they want to talk to somebody.
You can always call our offices. I mean, we're easy to get a hold of for the most part. You just call here the office in Taylorville and they'll find me as fast as they can.
Okay.
Assuming because we cover 4 counties. But we're happy to answer those questions. The USDA does have a hotline that you can visit.
I have it in front of
Yes.
me. It's 888-674-6854, and they call it the Butterball Turkey Talk Line. think
Yep.
that's
So the USDA does have a hotline, and I believe they have people working there the day of Thanksgiving. But don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else do you want to emphasize here about preparing turkey and Thanksgiving meals?
Yeah. So make sure, again, you're washing your hands really well. Make sure for leftovers that you're you're storing them correctly. When you have all that food sitting out, put them in slow cookers. You don't want to leave food at room temperature for more than 2 hours. So that's the other thing, is we tend to graze a lot during holidays, which is fine, but put things on ice, put things in a slow cooker, keep things warm so no one gets sick from it sitting out all day.
Something my uncle does, he prepares hors d'oeuvres. I mean, for before when everyone's snacking. I mean, is there anything I need to remember if I prepare an hors d'oeuvre or maybe a charcuterie board?
Yeah, just make sure you don't leave it out again for more than 2 hours or put it on ice. So that's charcuterie boards, especially because you're working with some perishable foods like cheeses that need to be put in the refrigerator after so long. So that's one thing to think about. Even setting a timer. I encourage that during all holidays. Put a timer for 2 hours. So that way, if you get busy talking to family, you hear a timer, you're like, what's that sound? You're like, oh, that's right. I got to go put the food in the fridge so we can eat it later.
Right. Anything else before you go here?
Nope. But again, if you have any questions, definitely visit our website at go.illinois.edu/turkey for additional resources and find recipes that way. If you're looking for diabetes-friendly recipes, heart-healthy recipes, please feel free to call our office. I will happily share those with you. We have some fun kind of holiday ones that I'm happy to share. Yeah.
Awesome. That is nutrition and wellness educator with University of Illinois Extension, Lisa Peterson. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.